Hey Myrtle, I was on my phone the other day and I saw this guy named Steve, and he's like this really adorable old man. All he does is make dad posts all day. Like he talks about his favorite movies, his favorite books, things that his son does, and of course his dog too. Like so many things about his dog. I mean, I know you're not a dog, so you won't understand, but come on. Turns out he's a writer too, and he wrote a book about a dog. It must be something really just wholesome and like adorable.
Now there's a new name for terror. Cujo.
Shield your eyes.
In the 1970s, Stephen King brought a broken down motorcycle to a local mechanic where a large St. Bernard came out and started growling at him. The dog then lunged at the author but was stopped when the kind old mechanic threw a wrench at the dog and it went back inside. The next year, King bought a new Ford Pinto for his wife that immediately started breaking down on them. Imagining the two scenarios together got him thinking, and this is where we get Cujo, published in 1981 and then later adapted in 1983. Cujo is a story with a very simple concept. A rabid St. Bernard is keeping people trapped in a car during the hottest summer on record, which the irony of course is not lost to anyone, including the characters in the book. But like nearly all of King's novels, there are a million and one subplots and characters that we the reader simply need to know everything about, no matter what. Main characters Donna and Vic are having trouble with their marriage, leading to Donna having an affair. Their 4-year-old son Tad is having trouble sleeping because he thinks a monster is in his closet. Vic's ad agency he runs is threatened with losing an account due to a health scare with a company's products. Charity, wife to local mechanic Joe, is planning a trip to take her son to see her sister. Adding on top of this, the book is also a somewhat sequel/spin-off to King's other book, The Dead Zone, and both are referenced in the new show Castle Rock, which references many, many more of the author's books. Eventually, you just feel compelled to map all this out that will rival the Marvel movie timelines. Strangely enough, the movie was able to adapt most of this, nowhere near with enough detail as the book, and keeping the Dead Zone mentions to pretty much nothing. The monster in the closet is very heavily implied to be a real thing in the book, with characters feeling something inside the dark corners, with a smell rising, ready to engulf you, and soon visions of eyes that shouldn't be there, staring right back at you.
In the movie, it's just a closet.
Or is it?
Who would probably be a lot happier.
No, it's pretty much a closet. We never learn on how Vic's ad agency is going to save the account, or even if it is saved, or how Charity's trip goes. Like all the other subplots adapted for the movie, they just serve to explain why someone could be trapped in a car for days, without anyone really noticing they're gone. So without those other stories within the book, all you're left are your trapped characters that you need to care about. Which is why Cujo may be the monster in the story, both book and movie are about something more.
How shitty families can be.
Or more so, the breakdown of people's perceptions on families and stories. The book spends a long time with Donna, Vic, Charity, and Joe. The movie doesn't go into it, but Donna does explain pretty well in the book why she had the affair. The movie does try to convey the stale boredom this upper middle class family is going through, but nowhere near as detailed. Charity and her son Brett do at times in the book talk about their fear but also love for Joe, and Joe, who on the surface is a stereotypical drunk redneck abuser, has moments shown through, where he actually has some kind of affection for his family, trying to provide for them as a mechanic, and revealed that it was his idea to get Cujo for his son, who seemed lonely being an only child. And then he threatens his wife with a belt because she wants to reconnect with her sister, and I tried, Joe, you're not making it easy to love you.
I guess you could say the book's writing as a whole is a little rough.
That's a terrible pun!
King didn't seem to like any character in this book. I'm not saying everyone is a horrible person, most of them are, but in the way situations happen to them and how characters are written as. Donna isn't in a loveless marriage with a jerk of a husband finding forbidden romance. She's scared about growing old and becoming a faceless extension to Vic with no identity of her own, and what she sees as a meaningless life in Maine. The guy she sleeps with, Steve, isn't some charming poetic hero that fulfills her wishes. He's an opinionated, emotional man-child who writes crappy poetry, and he's a may or may not rapist? Sexual assaulter, at least. And Vic isn't the know-it-all dad figure, but a workaholic. Charity is an abuse victim who's too proud to ask for help from her family. And Joe isn't some honest, God-fearing blue-collar working man so much as he's just a loudmouth, mean bully, and a spousal abuser who speaks loudly and waves his arms around and thinks that's good business practices. When in practice, it means he's just getting less clients who don't want to work with him.
And then everyone pees themselves. No, really.
Trapped in a car for days, pee in a cup and spill on yourself. Are you an old man character that's introduced in one sentence? You die peeing yourself. Are you a side character whose only characteristic can be summed up as I don't give a bippity boppity pee stain on your pants? And if you're a dog, you poop yourself. This book is very mean-spirited and very angry. It's written all as a single chapter and it just keeps going all the way through. King can't say much about what went down writing this because he can't really remember anything about writing Cujo. He wrote it on a big cocaine binge.
Hey, little boy with the balloon, check this out. Cocaine, don't tell nobody.
The movie sticks to the book accurately. It recreates some of the bigger moments in one part, actually making a scene more terrifying than it was described in the book, making Cujo seem like a real monster. But the book does have a real gut-punching ending. Like, the idea of a happy ending is pretty hard to find at the end of this book. The movie decided to add some kind of hope at the end. I don't spoil the stories I cover, so I say go read and watch both. But a book written on autopilot by coked-out Stephen King about a dog with rabies obviously doesn't end well. It would perhaps not be amiss to point out that he had always tried to be a good dog. He had tried to do all the things his man and his woman, and most of all his boy, had asked or expected of him. He would have died for them. If that had been required, he had never wanted to kill anybody. He had been struck by something, possibly destiny, or fate, or only a degenerative nerve disease called rabies. Free will was not a factor.
Cujo! Wait a minute. Why am I crying over Cujo? He killed like 6 people. But the question is, why am I hugging you? I'm still mad at you. You ate my glasses. He ate my glasses.
Why do we care if the dog survives the alien attack while potentially thousands of people and more than likely a bunch of other animals die? Why do we love cats and dogs? I mean, historically it would make sense. Dogs were good hunting companions and cats were good at pest control for farmers. But this one can't even catch treats that I throw at him, and this one backs up when she sees a spider. Clive Wine, director of the Canine Science Collaboratory at Arizona State University, well, that was a mouthful, thinks it's because they act like a baby. Big heads and eyes and are generally helpless. This makes our stupid brains think it's a baby and we instinctively want to take care of it and protect it. But that isn't 100% accurate for all cultures. A study of about 60 countries found that only about half of those countries had dogs as pets. Several Asian countries have banned the butchering of dogs for meat with a rise in pet ownership, creating a culture clash between the normally younger generation and the older ones still holding out to older customs. There was one landmark case of June this year making it illegal to killing dogs for food in South Korea. And Harold Herzog, a psychologist at Western Carolina University, thinks pet ownership is a cultural thing. You were raised with a dog or a cat in the house, or a family or friend had pets, or you saw Cujo and thought he was adorable. You know, before he caught rabies. So you join in the fad too. Herzog wrote a study on fads in dog breed ownership that spring up during certain years, which would kinda explain other types of pet fads like rabbits being bought and eventually abandoned during Easter, and owl sanctuaries needing to spring up after Harry Potter became so popular, but finding out that owls don't make easy pets.
In the end, we love our fur babies. Even if they do something they really shouldn't, glasses eater, we love them all the same. They give us a warm feeling, like cocaine, which I'm glad Stephen King got off of. But would I like to see another book written on a cocaine binge? No.
This is CB Smith, and thanks for taking a page.